Voice of college football, breaking down the balls as Tennessee heads toward spring practice near the end of March. We got Dave Hooker on the line from Off the Hook Sports that you can catch right here on YouTube. Dave, you came recommended, so I wanted to hear what all the hype was about at Off the Hook Sports.
Well, I've successfully misled at least one person then, Mark. So, and sometimes that can lead to stuff, so I'll take it.
Well, I'm going to guess that you have led a number accurately in your direction as a good source for Tennessee sports commentary. So, recruiting is, of course, the lifeblood of college football. And now, these days, of the last couple of years, you have to say recruiting / transfer portal. Your thoughts about Josh Heupel's current efforts for the 2024 class and how that's going?
Well, I think that was a big question when he was hired is can he recruit with the big boys, Nick Saban, Kirby Smart in the SEC? And I don't think he's completely 100% answered that, but I think he has answered it to some extent by having a top 10 class in 2023. So I still think that when he goes toe-to-toe with some of these guys and Kirby and Nick Saban, I think that he's probably going to lose more times than not. So it's incumbent upon Tennessee to really identify people, prospects early in the process and probably offer a little bit earlier than they would like to in some cases. But you are seeing them win some significant battles nowadays, and I think they'll continue to win more. They're going to have to beat Kirby probably more than Nick Saban, because when Tennessee's been at its best and at a championship level, they've done well recruiting the Atlanta and northern Georgia area. So I think that's really key. And, I think Nick Saban is Kirby Smart. I think he's the next Nick Saban in terms of recruiting. So that's not going to be an easy challenge. But as far as this 2024 class, I think that Tennessee is off to a good start. I think they're top 10 by most recruiting services, and they have 5 commitments right now, which needs to continue to grow, and they'll have a lot of junior camps in June, which is now the norm with a early signing period. So I would look for Tennessee to have more commitments than the average school earlier in the process when we head into football season.
And Dave, from what I understand, Tennessee high school football has improved considerably, let's say in the last decade or so.
It has. A big part of that's Nashville, but that's a bit of a double-edged sword. So Nashville is a new entertainment capital of the world. They do movies there. There's somebody told me there's more cranes building buildings than there are in New York City. I don't know if that's true or not, but it is absolutely exploding. So you have a bigger population base to choose from, and that's fantastic. You also have a strong private school area in there that gets kids prepared both physically and mentally. So that's good too. The flip side is very cosmopolitan. So Kirk Herbstreit moved from Ohio to Nashville. So you might have guys with ties to other schools. And we haven't seen, going back covering recruiting for 20 some odd years, I haven't seen the influx of Nashville guys that have been incredibly significant game changer, program changer, top players, but I still think that potential is out there. Now, Chattanooga is a much smaller city, but it's starting to produce a good amount of talent, probably a little bit more consistent based off their ratings than even Nashville. And then Knoxville is growing as well. The other thing about Knoxville that's significant is you've got guys like T. Higgins and Amari Rogers who went off to play elsewhere at Clemson in those particular cases, and they would have stayed home, Knoxville guys, had Tennessee's program not been a mess. So you're right. Going back to the General Neyland days, he said you had to recruit nationally to compete at Tennessee, and I still think that's the case, but not as much as it was in the 90s and 2000s. But still, Tennessee is going to have to get a good bit of players from outside the state boundaries, and then Memphis is always Memphis. It's just like it might as well be in another state. There's so many allegiances there. So there's a lot of prospects there, but I don't think you get a lot of help out of that area.